G'day guys, welcome back to the channel and welcome to a brand new series. In this series we're going to be ranking our top 10 most favorite champs. Well, it's going to be a countdown from 10 to 1. But don't get confused with some other things. Like, this isn't my top 10 most used champs at all. Like, I use a Mega Red all the time. You've seen my war videos. I use him a bunch in in-game content, but he's not one of my top 10 favorite champs because, yeah, he's really fun, but I guess I've used him so much that, you know, the spark of his playstyle has sort of lost its edge, I guess. It's also not what I think are the top 10 best champions in MCOC, because that's definitely not the case. And look at Corvus and Doom, like, they're really, really good champions. Arguably top 5 champions, both of them. But they're not really enjoyable champs for me overall. I don't look forward to playing them each time I pick them up. It's like this top 10 is champs that I'm really excited to play. So yeah, that's basically what it is. And if you've seen the thumbnail, so you've seen that number 10 is NAMOR. So let's get started. So NAMOR, let's explain why I like him so much. One of the reasons is his SIG ability. So he was one of the first 5 stars that I took to SIG 200, because if you're not familiar with NAMOR, at SIG 200 he takes 100% reduced damage from all sources while attacking his opponent, which is so ridiculous, and it's such a unique ability. Well, not completely unique, but he's the best at this in the right scenarios. In scenarios where you'd be taking instant damage back, or some damage over time even, and you're just instantly reflecting it back onto the opponent. So that's one of the reasons. And the other big reason is his damage output, or damage output potential. Now, the reason why I like this method of damage, or I have more fun with this over something like Magneto. Like Magneto, he can get way better damage output than NAMOR can. But with NAMOR, with Magneto, it's just parry heavy, parry heavy, parry heavy, parry heavy, parry heavy, forever. But with NAMOR, you really it really rewards well-timed play and skillful play. And that's the thing why I like about the NAMOR, is you can't just instantly pick this guy up and be an instant master of him like you can with Magneto. You really got to understand how he works, and what his abilities are, and how they interact with his damage output and his rotations of special attacks. So let's go into Realm of Legends. I'm just going to do a quick Winter Soldier fight. Actually, I'll do 2. The second one will be as a horseman, so we can compare the damage. And I'll just do a quick explanation of his rotation, or at least my rotation, because I know some other NAMOR players, they have a bit of a different rotation with him. So every medium he throws has a chance to proc a bleed on the opponent. Oops. Now, when the bleed doesn't apply, he gains a stack of outrage. That's the orange charges there. He has 5 of right now. And the bleeds, you can see, don't do much damage, but they're not meant to do damage. Now, I usually throw a special 1 because that builds up a few more outrage, and the goal is to get to a special 3 now before he hits 30 outrage. At 30 outrage, he snaps and he enters Imperious Rex. You can also activate it by holding block like that, but that's not what I would recommend. Another reason why I really like him and I have fun with him is he's really suicide friendly. You can see we're just constantly healing from willpower when we're hitting into Winter Soldier from the poison willpower healing, which is really nice. So we're at 25 now. We're just going to bait out special attack. Maybe 2. Now, 27. We're just going to play passive. We're going to wait till we get to 29 and parry him. We have to throw it when we get to 29, because then we have to try and get into an attack before he gets to 30. When he gets to 30, he gains 95% of his max power. So we have to be really quick on our feet. And with this, we can throw back-to-back special 3s. Now this will give us 2 passive furies. That's 7,000 attack each, 14,000 attack extra. And we also get, now that we're in Imperious Rex, we get a massive bonus on our special damage. Look at this. Only 1 hit crit. If you throw a heavy attack, you can consume half your outrage, and you gain a bar of power. And look at the basic attacks. You're hitting 17, 18k mediums. It's insane. Like, that's really fun. I know a lot of people don't find this fun because they think, you know, his ramp up time's too slow or whatever, and I get that. Like, it's not super practical in endgame content, but it's really fun. Like, I don't know anyone who doesn't have fun with Namor and Imperious Rex with that level of damage output. So now we're going to try him as a horseman and see the difference in damage. Now the horseman ability is going to have 2 effects. It's going to increase our ability accuracy, which increases the chance we have to place bleeds on the opponent, which we don't want. That's not great, but it's also going to give us a nice prowess boost, which we do like. So this is actually, I've never done this before, so it's going to be I'm really interested to see this, how this goes. And you can see his damage output before Imperious Rex is pretty average. Like, even with class advantage, he's not even giving 5k mediums to the suicides. So throw a special 1 to get a few outrage, which we might throw 2. Yeah, to be careful when you're holding block, because you don't want to activate Imperious Rex by accident. Okay, this is we're in a good position. Play that 1 more special attack, come on. Perfect, come on. Okay. We're not gonna have much time before we get to 30, so we might have screwed it up, but we'll have at least 1 passive fury. Oh, he was a bit passive there. Okay. Unfortunately, we didn't get the 2 passive furies like we did before, but you can see he's really powerful when he gets going. You can see Winter Soldier wasn't gaining much power at all once we hit Imperious Rex. So yeah, that's the basics of Namor. Now let's talk about how we can utilize his SIG ability. So we're just going to quickly hop into variant 2 in the last quest. If you don't know, if you're not familiar with variant 2, the global in every quest, unless you're using an XL champ, a lot of your attacks will be glanced, which means they'll do a lot less damage, and that will also instantly reflect damage back onto you. But with Namor, we can reflect the damage back onto them, which is really nice. This path also has bleed vulnerability, which Namor heavily benefits from, since the opponent's pretty much always going to be bleeding. There's also Bane, but that's not a big problem. You can see we're taking no damage from a node where a lot of champions would be taking damage. We've pretty much just stay at full health this whole fight. And if we lose a bit of Bane damage, we can just heal it back through suicides. Easy as that. Easy as that. Okay, so now we're in Act 6, Chapter 2, Quest 5, which is one of, if not the hardest quest in the game. Because of mainly, well, for one of the big reasons is because of this node, which does instant damage back to us if they have some of these charges when they're about to die, basically. But with NAMOR, we can prevent this damage back on us and not reflect it on them because they won't take the damage, but it's a way to get around this node, basically. Another thing that NAMOR benefits from is bleed immunity, unless they're a robot, because he doesn't, I'll quickly show you, he doesn't gain charges against robots like that. But you see NAMOR generates 1 outrage whenever, sorry, not that one. NAMOR does not gain outrage when failing to apply bleed debuffs to robots. But against other bleed immune champs, or like bleed immune nodes, whenever he doesn't get a bleed, he gains an outrage, which is good. Because the bleeds don't do much damage, but outrage is good. That's what we want. So we'll do a quick showcase of this fight, and then we'll go to a fight later in this path, which is much harder. This also has chaos, so see a bit of funky stuff happening potentially. So those pink charges, that's the do not go gentle charges. So we can remove those by intercepting or heavy attacks. Like that. That removes 2. Or a heavy attack removes 1. Now remember, NAMOR can only reduce the damage when he's attacking the opponent, which means his sig ability only really can activate for like a whole combo, but there's a short cooldown time where he's between combos where he's not attacking. So you don't want to build too many charges up on NAMOR. And I messed up there because we missed Imperious Rex. This guy is gaining double power, which is not good. And he's being very defensive. Of course he went unstoppable. So unfortunately we didn't get to benefit from that Imperious Rex cycle, but we can try again. Oh, now he's power locked, that's great. I should probably let a few charges build up so we can see how his sig ability activates at the end of the fight. So remember, this will give us a passive fury. So we've got 4 do not go gentle charges on us. 2 now. And you see, they went off on us. And for any other champ, we would have been taking damage there, but NAMOR just prevented it, and we finished on a full yellow bar. Okay, so now we've reached a really interesting fight. Same path, by the way. We've got an Electro here, who has, of course, do not go gentle, so we've got to watch out towards the end of the fight. He also has a 1% regen, and he inflicts poison on us. So we've got to be really aggressive for this first minute, which we by reflecting that poison damage back onto him and preventing us from taking the damage. And once we get Imperious Rex, we'll hopefully have enough damage to overcome this 1% regen. So I don't expect to be doing much damage making quite a dent into him until we get into Imperious Rex. So let's see how we go. And remember, we don't want to let too many Do Not Go Gentle charges build up, because Namor can only deal with a few at the end before he starts taking damage himself. Yeah, there really aren't many good options for this fight. I know Quake can do it, but yeah, Namor can certainly do it as well. I think Omega Red can also do it. His spores can overcome the regen, sorry. So you see, the poison is over halfway done and we're still at 75% health. Obviously, the poison means we're going to be reducing our regen by quite a bit, but we're not dying. Get some nice intercepts. So we're really aggressive, and it's working. Okay, so the poison's done now. He's still at full health, unfortunately, but that's fine. Because we're about to reach our second, or we're going to get our first special 3 now, hopefully reach a second soon. And remember, now that we have the passive through from the first special 3, this won't give him any power. Perfect, throw a special straight away. Look at that. How satisfying is that? Looking at all of those nodes on paper, it's such a nightmare combination. But Namor just, well, obviously we lost some health, but we can gain it back on this next fight. But it's so ridiculous how valuable that Sig ability is. Obviously you won't need it every fight, but damn, that's really satisfying for me personally. I know a lot of people don't appreciate Namor, but I think he still has a lot of value, because that fight is one of the hardest fights in Act 6. It's very specific. Let's stay in Act 6. Let's go to... Ooh, I know. There's a path in 6.3 where we'll be able to showcase our Sig ability again. It's down here. So long distance relationship, so we're going to get a lot of weakness debuffs on us, but also it has cramping. So when we have a weakness debuff, we're going to be draining power, and we suffer 25% of their attack. Let's see where his attack is whenever we land an attack. So for a lot of champs, that's a lot of damage. And the only way to get around this is by like anti-Thorns champs like Gambit or Omega or Namor. And Namor's the best because he can reflect that damage back onto the opponent. Also, this path has bleed immunity, which we just saw is really good for Namor in that Loki fight before. So yeah, what's his attack? 11,800. So almost 3,000 attack. We're going to be reflecting back from the opponent every hit, I think. Let's see how we go. And it doesn't matter how many weakness debuffs on us, because our basic hits aren't the source of our damage. It's the weakness. Look, 3,200 every hit. That's insane. This is a really niche path. And Namor can just cheese the hell out of it. And remember, we can just heal. Obviously this fight's a bit annoying because he's going to be evading, so we can only do 3-hit combos. You can see we're taking no damage. And it doesn't matter whether we have 5 weaknesses on us, because we're doing 10k damage every 3 hits. Sorry, I just lost connection there, but we're still in the same fight, and we're just doing Namor things. So I don't know, a lot of people will find this boring, but I don't know, it's really satisfying for me. Because you're just taking no damage, and you're just cheesing the hell out of a really tricky node. Not tricky node, but specific node. And you're just reflecting all that damage back on the opponent. And there we go. Finish that fight with pretty much full health. And Namor can solo that whole path, and there are a lot of fights in this path. You know, there's what, like 9 in total. Even this Wasp, he can solo. Okay, so we've seen that. Now we'll stay in 6.3, and let's. Oh, I hate it when it does that. It backs you out to book 2. So stupid. Now we have to go through like 10 different screens to get back to 6.3. Let's go into this quest. We'll take him on this path here. Power shield. You've seen how much damage we can get on our special attack. So with 400% more damage, we can see some big yellow numbers. Hopefully, if they crit. Okay, so the first fight we got here is a Kingpin. And remember when I said Namor gains outrage when the bleeds don't apply? That's the same when the opponent purifies a debuff. And you know, Kingpin is purify crazy, like he purifies a bunch of debuffs, so we're going to be getting a lot of outrage here, which would be nice. This path does also have double power gain, so we're going to be careful of that. Don't want to push him to a special 2. Now, this also does have the Tranquility Node or whatever, so we're going to be losing all our power after like 20 seconds. But hopefully we can get a big burst when we get to 30 and just get him down with like 1 special 2, or maybe 2. But 1 should be enough, I think. Actually, it's been a while since I've done this part, so I can't remember. Okay, so almost at 30. I think we're just going to wait. Cool. I didn't actually see how much left was long on the Tranquility timer, but we'll see how we go. And his special 2 is unblockable when he's... Okay, so that didn't do as much damage as I was hoping. Okay, so now let's look at a fight with no tenacity. This is basically a normal fight. Not a normal fight, but normal as in no bleed immunity or whatever, no tenacity. So this is another rotation I know people like, is throwing a special 3 very like off the bat and then building up to another special 3, but I don't know, I prefer the double special 3 method usually. You see with that passive Fury, she's taking a lot of bleed damage. Okay. I also love the special 3 animation. I think it's sick. And it can get repetitive, but I always like seeing it. Obviously the tricky thing with that in the fight was Gwenpool, you know, can't die from a special attack, so you have to have some sort of damage over time. Which is another thing that Namor has, is, you know, the access to bleed. Which we saw before was really good for bleed vulnerability. It's also handy for stuff like Diss Track. So now we've got a Killmonger. So similar to the Electro fight, we're going to be reflecting all of the Thorns damage, or just call it Thorns damage, back onto Killmonger. Which is really nice. Didn't like how passive he was there. Damn it. Thought we could get to special 3 in time. This is going to be tricky. I wonder if we can play passive enough so that we get to Imperious Rex after Tranquility. Nope. No, that was poorly timed. But with the increased power gain, we get up to a special 3. I'm not sure if I mentioned, but special attacks, they cost 90% less power, which is really good for cycling them. Like this. Woo! There we go. That's what we wanted to see. Oh, don't mind me, I'm just hitting Red Skull into the block and taking no damage. Which pretty much no one else can do. Okay, so now we're at the boss of this quest, the Nick Fury boss, that is. And this isn't the hardest fight in the world. He has Shank, so like whenever we hit into his block we can get bleeds on us. He also has debuff immunity, which isn't great, but we can use that to our advantage by gaining Outrage quicker, and therefore we can cycle Imperious Rex quicker than normal. And then he has Empowered Immunity, so we can use that, like the bleeds and stuns that we would be applying, to push him to special 2 each time. So ideally he won't be throwing a special 1, but let's see how we go. I usually like to play very aggressive with Namor. we're going to bait out heavy attacks if he does have 1 bar of power by just doing 4 hit combos and holding block. Nice, you see that pushed him to the special 2. We got the bleed on us, so it's just extra willpower healing. I'm gonna play a bit passive here. Wait till we hit 29. And we know that our next medium will guarantee Imperious Rex since he's debuff immune. Damn it, mistimed it. You can see we got a nice damage burst in there. Okay, sorry, my cable is being crazy and I'm losing connection to my computer every once in a while, which disconnects from my computer, which is really annoying. But we're still in the same fight. We only lost a bit of footage, so he's still in his first life, so we're gonna just keep on going. See that debuff immunity is really kicking in, getting him to the special 2 each time. Nice. Alright, trying to bait out a special 2. Remember, we hit 29, so we'll throw a special 3. And I wonder, if we get lucky with crits, we might actually be able to finish him off. Since he's obviously degenning from his second life now. We mistimed it again. We were too slow. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to show you the end of that fight. The bloody cable disconnected our phone from the computer and we lost the footage, which was really disappointing. But you saw how well NAMOR did in that, at least the start of that fight. And we did end up soloing him, but yeah, so that's NAMOR. He's my 10th most fun champ, if you want to call it that. But yeah, I really enjoy playing this guy. He's obviously not a champ I use all the time because his playstyle isn't very efficient. You know, it's not Corvus where just a couple combos and the opponent's done. But where he really shines, like the fights I showed in this video, he excels in. You know, he does so well. You saw that Electro fight. That's a really tough fight. Only a few champs can do it, and he does really well. So yeah, and I do use him in AQ actually, because one of the variations, I think it's the White Magneto variation, we take the One Eye Open path. If you're not familiar with the One Eye Open, whenever the attacker, I think basically whenever the attacker is stunned, any damage that anytime we hit them when they're stunned, the damage gets reflected straight back onto us. But obviously, through NAMOR's Sig ability, gets reflected straight back onto them. So it's basically a similar outcome to what you saw in in that Electro fight or the cramping path in 6.3. So yeah, he's someone that, like I said, I don't use that often, but I really enjoy him when I do use him, and that's why he's one of my funnest champs to use. So anyway, thank you for watching this video. I really hope you enjoyed. I definitely enjoyed recording it. I had a lot of fun going back to those fights in Act 6 and Variant 2 and really getting the most out of NAMOR. If you liked it, please leave a like. And if you think you know who my next, who the next one on my list is, number 9, leave it down in the comment section below. But until that video, I'll see you then. See ya.